Hi Patreon members, I'm going to make a video right now comparing Seeking Alpha to MarketSmith. One of my Patreon members asked me to compare the two, particularly the fundamentals, and basically asking me which one is better. And in all honesty, they are equal but different. I use them for not completely different ways, but I use them in different ways. I use them both every day, every weekday anyway, and I have been for about 20 years. So let me show you how I use Seeking Alpha, and then I'll show you how I use MarketSmith. And if you want to see the MarketSmith section first, you can just skip ahead. I will timestamp it. And keep in mind, these two platforms are exhaustive. There are many, many layers. I don't use all of the components. I don't think anybody does. It's like having a toolbox with a whole bunch of tools in it, and then you use the tools that you need. And just a quick note that I do have a partnership with Seeking Alpha, and if you click on the link in the description below, you'll find a link to Seeking Alpha, and if you end up subscribing, I will get a small stipend. I'm not partnered with MarketSmith, but I certainly speak very highly of it, and I encourage, basically, if you are not serious about investing, then just build a position in the S&P 500 via the SPY or another S&P 500 ETF. Maybe dabble in a couple blue chips and go about your business. But if you want to get serious about fundamental analysis, I really think both of these services are essential. And MarketSmith helps with technical analysis as well. Although for technical analysis, I prefer stockcharts.com. But we'll save that video for another day. Now let's jump into how I use Seeking Alpha. And so right here you can see my portfolio, and I have this open on my second monitor throughout most of the day. These are just stocks. I own some of these stocks. Some of these stocks are on my focus list, my watch closely list, and some of them I am just interested in. For example, let's see, the companies Rivian. I just like to read the news headlines, even though I personally do not own the stock. So you can have this portfolio. It's updated real time. You can sort it by performance during the day. This is a little penny stock, 𝐹-AMDF, up 42% today. It'll probably be down 45% tomorrow. But you can sort it by performance, by volume, all of these different things. You also see quant ratings and Seeking Alpha analyst ratings and Wall Street ratings. So I watch this throughout the day. It's updated in real time. And then I also really enjoy these news headlines as soon as I get up. And then, after market close, I just skim these headlines and see what's new, see what's going on with all these different stocks. For example, AMD just posted their earnings. You can read the bullet points here. You can click on it and get the press release. So just that alone is very helpful. I also like to read the earnings report transcripts. So when I get a chance, I'll read the AMD earnings call transcripts. I'm going to read the Microsoft transcripts as soon as they come out. The Tesla transcripts, I actually listened to that one on YouTube, so I don't need to read that one. But here's another one, APPF. I'm going to go back and read those transcripts. And then the other thing that I find really valuable is the Seeking Alpha analyst articles. Let's pick Microsoft, a great long-term hold. So what I do is I identify strong charts by technical screens. I'll run a screen, relative strength above 88, and then I'll put in some parameters so it pulls up stocks with strong sales and earnings as well. And I'll run the screen and I'll find some charts that look good, and then I will go back and read the analysis articles to learn about the company, to figure out, okay, if I buy this, should I swing trade this for a week or two, or is this something I might want to hold for multiple quarters or multiple years? And then, of course, if I do end up owning a stock for multiple quarters, then I read these analysis articles from time to time and keep up what's going on with the company. And just for example, if we just glance at this, Microsoft, good results may not be good enough. And we can click on the article, we get bullet points, and we can read the article, etc. And for the larger caps, new articles are appearing every single day, new analyst articles. For the small caps, you get one once a week or so. Now that personally is generally all that I use Seeking Alpha for on a day-to-day basis, because I get a lot of my fundamentals from, as far as the numbers, I'm about 75% technical, 25% fundamental. So I just use the really basic fundamentals available on MarketSmith. However, if you are a value investor or just want to dive deep into the fundamentals, here is an array of fundamentals that Seeking Alpha offers. You've got different ratings here. You've got access to different financials. You got the income sheet, you got the balance sheet, you've got the cash flow sheet. None of this is available on MarketSmith, but you can go through this with a fine-tooth comb, channeling your inner accountant, and go through this on Seeking Alpha. You can look at earnings information. There's a chart. You can look at dividend history. This is really helpful. Dividend growth rate. How much was the last dividend? When is the next dividend coming out? Let's see, valuation ratings. Microsoft, by the fundamental standards, is overvalued. Of course, that doesn't mean it's not going to keep going up. And we can look at the growth ratings. We can look at profitability ratings. We can look at momentum. Peers is interesting. These are companies that are similar in some respects. Oracle now, Palo Alto Networks, CrowdStrike, and Fortinet. So often, if you find one stock that's doing well, in this case Microsoft, its cohorts will also be doing well. So one thing we could do now is pull up the charts of these 5 stocks, and if those charts look good, then we could start doing a fundamental analysis of those. And here it has a simple comparison of the different stocks. And actually, CrowdStrike has outperformed. It's up 200%. This is 1 year performance. CrowdStrike is up 200% over the last year, whereas Microsoft is up a paltry 70%. That's still pretty darn good. Quant ratings right here. You can look at the options market. I don't do options, but if you do options, here I think is all you need to know. And it's got some real basic charting, a charting component. I don't use this charting component. I use stockcharts.com. So that's how I use Seeking Alpha. I'm trying to remember. Oh, 2 other things. One, if you go over here under market data, I like to pull up this earnings calendar every week or 2 during earnings season, and it will tell you exactly which companies are reporting. Let's see, tomorrow is a huge day in earnings. Let's click on it here. 106 companies are reporting tomorrow, and you can look, here are all the different companies and pre-market, post-market, the different estimates, all of that information. And you can also do a search. If we search, let's see, what hasn't reported yet? NVIDIA, it is reporting on February 15th. So I do also use that. And then this is brand new, Alpha Picks. This, there is a group of professional analysts / money managers who use their expertise as well as the quantitative tools on Seeking Alpha to do picks. And they do, I think they do a couple every month, and they tell you when to buy and when to hold. I guess they recommended Super Micro Systems when it was at 85. It's at 500 now. I do not have this. I'm thinking about getting it. But I do not. It just came out, and I just kind of find out about it. But I do have a link. If you access it through the description below, I'll get a little commission if you end up subscribing. If you do subscribe to it, let me know what you think. So that's how I use Seeking Alpha. Like I said, I've had it for maybe 20 years or so. And for years, I just had the free version. And then like everything else, every other, seems like every other database of information, whether it's the Wall Street Journal or a financial website, is paywalled these days. Seeking Alpha is too. You can only access, gosh, I don't even know, 3 articles a week or something, and then it locks you out till the next week. So if you are going to use it, I recommend that you buck up and get the premium version. Link in the description. So that's how I use Seeking Alpha. I love it. It would be really uncomfortable for me to not have this every day and to have to figure out a different system. Let's jump over to MarketSmith. Now, I use MarketSmith for a completely different purpose. Yes, it has better charts, and it does have some rudimentary line drawing tools and so forth. Although, like I said, I use the StockCharts.com subscription website for that. I just look at some basic fundamentals, and MarketSmith gives me those really easily. I use the screening tool and the comparison tool and the industries tool. So let's look at those real quick. I'm trying to keep this video under 20 minutes. So it gives you instantly the rate of growth of earnings, sales, and gross margins. And these are the 3 big things that I look for when evaluating the fundamentals of a stock. Accelerating earnings, sales, and gross margins, particularly earnings. And here you can look at the annual earnings. And if you go to the weekly, gives you a bunch of other information. Dividend, PE ratio, some different ratings, EPS rating, other top stocks in the group. And this gives you a weekly chart. It also shows you, these are all the earnings dates. You can see what it did on earnings. Gives you a monthly chart here. You can also change the date. I'm not going to go, I could do an hour-long video on MarketSmith features. I'm not going to go deep in the weeds here. Let's see. But pretty much anytime I find a stock with a good-looking chart via a screener, I pull it up here in MarketSmith real quick, take a glance at the fundamentals. If I don't understand what the company does, I can read this description, develops operating systems, yada, yada, yada. And you can even click here and go to the website, Microsoft website, and learn about the company. Okay, I'm just going to show you 2 other things I do with MarketSmith. One is I run screens. Here are some of my screens. I really like this one. A relative strength of 88 plus and a composite strength, a composite of the different numbers, relative revenue, earnings, gross margins of 88% or higher. Then if I click on it, the stocks will show up down in this window below, and then I can cycle through them like so. So you can build screens. There are lots of different screens pre-made in here, like William O'Neill screen, Warren Buffett screen. I don't know if you've heard of that guy. Peter Lynch, etc. You can also build new screens, new stock screen. I'm not going to go through that right now, but you name it, you set your parameters and run your screen. It's really quite easy. I like the screener better than StockCharts.com. And the last thing that I use all the time is the industry groups database. You can click on the 197 industry groups, and it will give you the 197 industry groups. And you can rank them. It will rank them. You can click on it. So let me just flip it. The number 1 industry group right now, believe it or not, is coal, followed by biotech, followed by computer software security. You can look at what rank it is now, but also where it was 3 months ago and where it was 6 months ago. So you can see if it's rising or falling. And then let's say I click on energy coal. It'll show me a chart of the industry as a whole. Then I can open this panel, and here are all the stocks in the industry group, show component data, and now all of the companies are down here. Okay, and now I can rank these. I can sort these by EPS. I can sort these by relative strength. I usually do it by relative strength. And then by just using spacebar, I can tab through them like so. Look for strong charts. I like Arch right now. There's Arch, nice little cup with handle. And then here's a little bonus thing. What I do is I jump over to stock charts. Now I can look at the chart on stockcharts.com, and I can annotate it like so. Well, not like so, but I use the annotation tools. And you can do that on MarketSmith, but the tools are just fairly primitive and clunky. I've been asking them every couple years. I put in not a complaint, but a suggestion that they improve their annotations tools. And I tell them to check out stockcharts.com as an example, and they ignore me. Let's see, MarketSmith is expensive. I do think, though, if you're going to get serious about fundamental analysis, it's really a great tool. One other thing is it shows you instantly here on the charts its relative strength compared to the rest of the market, which is really important. So there's all sorts of different ways you can use MarketSmith and Seeking Alpha, and there's some other things I do from time to time, but that in essence is how I use MarketSmith, how I use Seeking Alpha. They're equal but different. I use them for different purposes. Love them both. I encourage you, when you can afford it, to subscribe to both if you are serious about being a consistently successful investor. Let me know if you have any quick questions or comments regarding Seeking Alpha or MarketSmith, and consider checking out my Patreon if you want to see my portfolio and focus list. I show that every week. 7-day free trial, link in the description, and I will see you guys in the next video. Oh, could you like the video too? Supposedly that helps. Thanks. Take care.